Friends, we have catastrophic stuff happening inside the United States, particularly all across the southern part of the United States. And these cases and issues are being exported all across the U.S. But what we're going to be talking about today is something that we haven't talked about before. This is even more nefarious than anything that I've heard up to this far. Basically, what they're doing is they are intentionally tossing out amnesty cases because they're making intentional mistakes in order to get, now they're counting 1 million cases having been dismissed on purpose in what is now being called quiet amnesty. We need to talk about this, friends. This is a big deal. It impacts every single American out there and, in fact, impacts people around the world. Let's jump into it. Welcome to the Poplar Report. I'm Steve Poplar. I'm an accountant by trade, and I do deep dives into the information. I'm seeing reports out there. I always try to verify everything to make sure that they are correct. We get a lot of reports coming from you guys, and I do verify that information against other sources, and I appreciate all of you guys do to get that information in. This one blew my mind. 1 million cases intentionally dismissed. And, you know, I don't take those type of allegations lightly. The question is, okay, well, is this kind of a typical thing? What percentage of the cases before were getting dismissed? And then now, how many of them are getting dismissed? I mean, is this like a real change? And the answer is absolutely yes. Absolutely yes. We just, for us to understand the process, people come from the South. Okay, now, doesn't mean they're from the South. A lot of people, we have over 1 million, we're looking at possibly 1 million people from China having come into the United States through the southern border. That's not the most direct route from China, but yet that's what they're doing. They're flying into places like Colombia, and then they're coming up north and then crossing. And then when they get to the United States, they're turning themselves in. When they get stopped, they then say the magic words that they've been taught by all the NGOs, all the nonprofits, quote unquote, charity groups that are really run by the Red Cross, the UN, all the groups that are undermining the rule of law inside the United States. They get coached on what to say. They get to the United States. They get stopped by Border Patrol. They say the magic words, or even if they don't say the magic words, they get assumed that they should say the magic words. When that happens, they get a court date to hear their amnesty pleading. Basically, like now it's like 12, 13, 15 years out is what we're hearing. So until their court date, until it gets decided, they get to stay now. They get to have a job. They get to collect welfare, and they get put up for free in housing. They get their free cell phones. They get all this stuff handed to them because they have this claim. And until that claim gets debunked, it's assumed to be real. Now, that's not necessarily, I mean, that kind of makes sense. But the thing is, you shouldn't be waiting 15 years for this case. But now, what's happening is these cases are being intentionally dismissed. The Department of Homeland Security has, under this administration, taken it upon themselves to, their job is to dismiss as many of these cases as possible. Since 2021, since the beginning of these guys, the Biden-Harris administration, 3.7 million new cases have been added to the docket. That's how many more cases we have now than we had back then. Even with all the immigration judges that were added under Trump, They're trying to jam as much into the system and make the system to break. Just for perspective, just this year, we're not even through the end of this year, the first 3 quarters of 2024, 1.5 million new cases. It's speeding up. This urgency to thrust as many people into the United States as possible and to jam everything up as much as possible has been ongoing the last 3.5 years, but it has accelerated in the last year even faster. They're trying to break our will. They're trying to break the system as fast as they can. Now, what are they doing? This is a report from the House Judiciary Committee looking into this. They've looked through the documents. They've looked at this. They've crunched the numbers. And this is their allegation: that they are rubber stamping case dismissals, case closures, and case terminations. What's infuriating about this is that this isn't just like they're dismissing cases, but they're using processes that intentionally poison the cases so they can be dismissed. Now, if you're like, Steve, there are legal implications to what you've just said. And believe me, I know. I get it. What I'm saying is what they're doing is illegal. That people's jobs should be ended for sure. Imagine if you had a police department where you intentionally taught them to read the Miranda rights wrong so that everyone who has them read to them, their cases would be dismissed. And if you were to ask me, would that be, borderline treasonous? Would that be a dereliction of duty? That you're intentionally training the police officers wrong so that all of the court cases get thrown out? Yeah, I think we could all agree that that is a dereliction of duty, that is a high crime and misdemeanor, especially if it's intentional. If it's unintentional, that's bad. That's real bad. But if it's intentional, that's malicious and malignant. And that's what we're seeing here. Okay, so 2017 to 2020. For these 4 years, 13,000 cases total were dropped. Now we're seeing in this administration approximately 250,000 per year. 1 million cases dropped since just 2021. Now you do the math on that. We go from 13,000 over 4 years to 1 million cases over 4 years, and not even up to 4 years yet. That tells you all you need to know about how this is a systemic, intentional process that they're using. They're overwhelming the court system, and then what they're doing is them purging these cases as quickly as they can for any reason they can find and any reason that they can concoct. They are intentionally documenting errors so that these cases get dismissed. They have people who are intentionally doing it wrong so that it can then be dismissed later. Processes that invalidate the cases. I mean, I shouldn't be surprised. I shouldn't be surprised by the level of corruption. And I know a bunch of you are going to be like, Steve, of course you should be more cynical. You should understand how bad these people are. But it's still shocking, and I don't want to get over it. That quiet and sometimes loud rage is something that we shouldn't. When it comes to despicable evil, the destruction of our country and our values, it should keep us mad. It should get us mad every single time. We should never hear it and go, well, no, that's just the way it is. Oh, it's okay. I mean, it's not okay, but like, yeah, that's what we expect from these people. No, we should still be shocked and moved to action every single time that we hear these shocking, insane things that they are doing. When the light shines on the darkness and exposes it, in the last 4 years, best estimates that we're seeing, 8 million people have entered. In the last 4 years, 8 million people. That is a lot of people. And that's not talking about all the people that came before. And that's not talking about all the people that didn't even get counted. A lot of people slip in and don't report in. Don't allow themselves to get caught. And those are actually the really scary ones. The gangs coming across the border. The criminals, the people that are infiltrating our country intentionally because they are foreign agents who are coming to do us harm and they don't want to be documented. Those are truly the scary ones, and those don't even get counted in these numbers. We're just talking about the people that got caught. We have a lot of people coming across our northern border and not getting caught. And that's a whole nother subject right there, because nobody's talking about the northern border. Because there's nobody there. There's no border security whatsoever up on our northern border whatsoever. People are getting into Canada and then they're coming down to the United States for the free stuff, getting all the free stuff, and the systems and the corruption that is leading to this. I just saw an estimate. It was $120,000 per year per person who has come here. That's 3 times what the average American makes, about $45,000 a year. About 3 times what an average salary of an American is how much it's costing us per person who is coming here. It boggles the mind, and yet here we are. The level of corruption, the intentional disregard for the rule of law, the undermining of the rule of law to bring us and our great nation to its knees. And the crazy thing about this too is that this is what's happening in the US, but it's happening everywhere else. In Spain, it's happening here. In Poland, they're like, no, not here. We won't let it happen here. Well, they had the European Union twisting their arms so hard that they finally broke and opened up a bunch of processing centers for migrants in Poland. Even Poland is going to start integrating all these migrants that are coming into their population. What that means is we need to find free housing for them. Well, free for them, not free for the government. We need to find villages, towns where there's housing. We need to buy up this housing, or we need to rent it, lock it into contracts so that we can then give it for free to these people coming in. What are they doing to get this? What are they doing to deserve all this? They're coming in to undermine and invade a foreign country. That's what they're doing to deserve it. They are part of an invasion army. And I don't see how you can see it in any other way. That's exactly what this is. They're being brought in not because we need people. There's legal ways we could do that. Nobody's going before Congress and being like, hey, we should have more legal visas so more people can come here. We should expand the residency programs so that people can get green cards to come and work inside the United States. No, we're not talking about that. We're talking about we can't have a wall. We're talking about we can't stop these people from coming in. We're talking about intentional movements by the Biden-Harris administration to welcome people through Mexico, to negotiate with Mexico so that Mexico will help expedite these people through their country so that they can get to our border as quickly as possible. And that our border patrol is really just a shuttle service where they pick people up who are waiting, shuttle them to processing facilities, process the paperwork on people, and then take them to deposit them at bus stations. That's what the Border Patrol is doing now. And Harris was talking about, like, we need to pass these this border bill before Congress so that we can have more Border Patrol agents. They're upset that they don't have enough chauffeurs to move all these migrants to the bus stations and to drive them and pick them up from the desert and wherever they come from. We need more shuttle drivers. In fact, we would actually hinder their campaign more if we were to actually just defund the entire Border Patrol. Because the Border Patrol isn't protecting the border. The Border Patrol is literally making this problem worse. Under this administration, the Border Patrol is doing the exact opposite of what its mission is. Instead of protecting the border, it's actually making it more unsecure. And I don't know how Border Patrol agents can possibly even look themselves in the mirror. I mean, can you imagine if you're like police and instead of protecting people, you're actually going around and just doing drive-by shootings? Instead of stopping drive-by shootings, you're actually doing drive-by shootings. If you're a trash collection person and instead of picking up trash, what you're doing is you're filling up your truck full of trash at the landfill and then you're just dumping it all over the streets. Like, imagine a job where you are literally doing the opposite of what your job is supposed to be. I mean, someone who's supposed to be working at the grocery store, they're actually going to people's houses and stealing the food out of their houses. I mean, that's the insanity of our government. And the thing is, it's not insane. It makes perfect sense when you see that this is all one illegitimate campaign to destabilize and destroy our country, just like it is in so many of these other countries in the world. There is no other explanation. All right, friends, vote accordingly. Vote early, vote often, get out there, help other people. Help other people get to the polls, help other people be encouraged to vote, and let's run up the numbers. We got some work to do, and there's difficult times coming. All right, friends, we're going to try to turn this thing around, and if that doesn't work, we're going to try harder. Thanks so much for joining with us. If you want to check out another video from this channel, there's one right up here. I'll see you over there, or I'll see you guys later. Steve Poplar of the Poplar Report out.